What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Anfernee, and in this video I want to talk about how to break the generational debt curse that you may feel is on you and your family. I personally know the feeling of struggling to try to be a first generation millionaire, try to be the person in your family to excel everyone into financial freedom and financial independence. So what I want to focus on in this video in particular is understanding how to spot the causes of generational debt early and how to avoid that if you are a teenager or if you are in your early 20s. So if you think you're going to enjoy anything about this video or find value in any part of this video, then hit that like button for your boy. And also, if you want a free stock, then go down into the description and sign up to the public app where they will give you a free stock just for signing up. And to get started talking about the first leading cause to generational debt or generational financial dependency would be the outrageous cost of college in the 21st century. Now, I have historically not been a fan of college. I have gone to college and I still am in college, but what I'm not a fan of is the value that you get for the cost that you have to shell out. A single degree can cost anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000, but at the end of it, when you actually do want to go get a job, you have to get trained in that job as if you never studied anything before in your life. And I believe that if you're going to have to retrain every single college graduate in order for them to be effective in their job, then maybe one, the college curriculum should be changed to be more efficient in preparing students to be in that actual job that they want to be in, or two, jobs should just not require college degrees as a prerequisite in order to qualify for the job in the first place. It makes no sense why you have to have both. But let me get off my soapbox. So the way that you can avoid this factoring into your generational debt curse is by taking action in college in order to help pay back the loans. And this could be anything like working part-time, starting your own business, or even finding other creative ways to finance your education. But this one seems like the most complicated area because it really does seem like a scam and something that you may not necessarily be able to avoid, especially if you're trying to earn a salary and live in a corporate life. But the next big factor that may eventually lead to generational debt is a stagnation in income and jobs from new people entering into the stock market. Now, even when I was entering into college in 2016, I had some worries about whether or not the job I wanted to get when I graduated was still going to be needed by the time that I had finished my degree. When I first got into college, I wanted to be an accountant, and I was almost sure that in 2016, by the year 2020, someone would have invented an accounting software that knew all of the tax laws, that knew how to calculate your income tax without you doing any work, and the need for accountants would be obsolete. I'm happy to say that even though I didn't end up getting my degree in accounting and I ended up getting it in finance, that software has still not been invented and accountants still have a job for now. But what I'm trying to say that with advancements in technology, it is not certain that a lot of manual jobs will still be needed once all of the babies today grow up and will need jobs in the future. And a way to avoid this and avoid another layer of generational debt would be to develop some specialized skill that allows you to stand above the job market or that allows you to work for yourself so that you're not dependent on any other company or for the government for a paycheck. By specializing in your very own skill, you can build an audience, you can build a stream of revenue that should be able to flow and function no matter what is going on into the economy. And then the next factor that goes into generational debt would be the rising housing costs. Now, I'm sure we've all seen the meme about a parent saying, back in my day, I could buy a house, go to school, and buy a brand new car for less than $10,000. In fact, the matter is that today, buying new houses and cars and still having money left over to live a decent lifestyle just isn't as attainable for young adults as it may have been back in the day. And one of the reasons is that housing costs has risen in a way that far exceeds the pace of wages, so that middle class workers who were able to afford a single family home back in the day may be ousted by the big investors buying up the homes and shooting the prices sky high. A house that cost $100,000 just 5 or 6 years ago now lists for $250,000 today. And if you're trying to make enough income to afford a mortgage, having such a sharp appreciation in home values when you don't already own a home can be detrimental when you're trying to enter into home ownership. And by that same token, if you are able to enter into home ownership at these new inflated prices, it will give you $100,000 to $150,000 more in debt that you have to pay back that didn't exist 5 years ago. That's just more money that came right out of thin air for the exact same house on the exact same land, and now it costs almost twice as much as it used to. And so understanding where to live and how to live on a budget, especially as a young adult, will definitely help you in avoiding this factor of generational debt. Some other things that you can do is some creative financing where you finance your mortgage on a 15-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage. That just sort of better ensures that you'll be able to pay it back within the time that you're still alive. 30 years is a long time to plan that you're going to be on the planet, and as we know, mistakes may happen every day. So if you're worried that you're not going to be able to pay your loan back, then I would definitely opt for the 15-year one instead of the 30-year note. And then the next factor that leads to generational debt would be the surplus of credit card promos that are encouraging excess spending for new college students. Now, if you are anything like me, when I first got into college, I didn't know anything about money. I didn't know anything about credit cards. I had never even had a paycheck above $100. So when I actually did have a little bit of freedom and was able to make my own decisions, one of the first things that was shoved in my face was a credit card promotion where if I open a credit card and spend $1,000, I would get a $100 cashback bonus. So in my 18-year-old head, I'm thinking that this is going to be a free $100. All I have to do is spend money to make money. That's what all the business gurus say, right? But what I didn't understand at the time, and what I wish someone would have told me, is that doing this immediately led me to getting $900 in debt without having any sort of income, without having any sort of way to pay this money back, just to get a 10% discount on stuff I didn't need. So having the abilities to see these promos and to reject them because you don't need to spend excess money to save a few bucks will allow you to eliminate most of the mistakes that young adults make, and that is getting in too much debt too early when you don't have the income to pay it off. When you actually do graduate, or when you actually do get a stable job and you're able to pay off your credit card each month, this would be a great time to take advantage of those credit card promos, but not when you're just getting started in college, and not when you don't have the money on hand to pay it back right away. And the next factor that goes into generational debt is something that we just have recently experienced in the past 2 years, and that is going to be economic disruptions. Now, economic disruptions are something that we may not literally be able to avoid. If it's something like COVID, if it's something like inflation, if it's something like companies just not offering as much jobs, then we will be impacted by economic disruptions whether we prepare for it or not. However, the key is to try to prepare as best you can for it and hope you can ride it out when something like that does happen. So when you're trying to avoid generational debt, what you would want to do is make sure you have a proper emergency fund so that when something does come up and you have to pay out a lot of money, you don't have to take out a loan to pay that expense. Because what would happen if you take out a loan, you would then start to owe interest on that loan, and the longer you take to pay back the loan, the more interest will accrue until compound interest starts working the opposite of in your favor, and now you own a snowball of debt that makes it harder and harder to claw your way out of the longer that it takes to pay it off. So as I said, the biggest key to insulating yourself from economic disruptions would be to have a sizable emergency fund of at least $1,000 or at least 2 to 3 months worth of your expenses. And then the last major factor that leads to generational debt, and this one actually is one that you see almost every day, if not multiple times a day, and that is social media and the temptation to keep up with the Joneses and spend money that you don't have to impress people that you don't like for a couple of likes and views. The temptation to showboat on social media has led many people, I would even go on to say millions of people up to this point, into getting into credit card debt, into getting into personal loan debt, all just to have personal experience to show off on social media. And the thing with social media is that you never seem to see the bad sides of people's lives. You only see how well they're doing because that's the only thing that they post. And some people may feel encouraged to try to keep up with their lifestyle and post even more extravagant adventures and to show just how much fun that they can have spending all their income and more income than they make along the way. So if you truly want to get on a financial freedom journey, if you truly want to say to yourself that you are going to be the first generation millionaire in your family, that the generational debt curse stops with you, you have to understand when to sacrifice, when to know that today's money will be worth a lot more in the future if you make smart financial decisions. I guarantee you that if you do this, your children and your children's children will thank you because you are putting them on the road to financial prosperity and they don't have to start from complete scratch. But with all that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I really hope this video helped you see how to avoid some of the most common ways to get in generational debt. If you found any kind of value in this video, then do me a favor and tap that like button for your boy, and also hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. And if you want to get out of a little bit of debt and help the channel at the same time, then go down into the description where if you sign up to the public app, they will give you a free stock just for signing up, no strings attached. However, I hope you did like this video, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.